We're transforming a small Cape Cod with an eye-catching front porch that invites and welcomes you home without being outrageously expensive. It's the first part of a series studying how to renovate small houses. If you like what you see and think this porch plan can fit your small Cape Cod, stick with us to the end and we'll tell you how you can get your own study drawings. Hey, this is Nate with HomeRenoIdeas.com, and this is where we design renovation ideas for small houses. Take a second and subscribe so you can get more ideas as soon as they're off the drawing board. I'm consistently asked by homeowners what they can do to upgrade the front of a small house. Maybe they've recently moved in and are facing a tight budget and just want to update the front of their home. Today, we're working on a production Cape Cod. This house is located all over Midwestern North America. Its style was a reaction to a post-war housing crisis in the 1950s. These houses were designed for early suburban developments. They were built in overwhelming numbers and designed to reflect a historic Cape Cod, which was economical and easy to build by hand. The elements of this historical style have shallow eaves, symmetrical windows, a brick chimney in the core of the house, steep roofs allowing the attic space to function as a second floor. The simple shape of a rectangle topped with an extruded triangle roof allowed for speedy construction when the pressure was on to build houses quickly. Averaging around 900 to 1,000 square feet, with 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and a small kitchen, they were the ideal house plan for their day. But by today's standards, they have a heavily partitioned floor plan, tight hallways, steep stairs, and limited accessibility. They are cramped and have a number of livability issues. But with all those drawbacks, there's one thing that works really well with the size of these homes. They have an excellent proportion and scale and lend themselves to a great blank slate for renovation. In today's episode, we're going to explore how the house can be upgraded with the addition of a small porch. A porch is the gatehouse of a home. It is the story of the house. Everybody knows that houses have character. It's really what we see when we look at any house. The message a house conveys is based on how you and I see ourselves actually using it. We have today set a design program to make a low-cost addition to the exterior, to upgrade the look of the house. Any type of project requires a design method. It really is a method of analysis, and we're going to analyze the exterior and look for negatives and positives that can be responded to. The first thing you'll notice about this house is the entrance. Let's look at a couple of aspects of the entrance that need to be understood. First of all, if you're going to make any house look more attractive, you want to emphasize the entrance. The current one is really utilitarian in nature. There's nothing special or unique about it. The flat front of the house conveys a generic feel. The existing small slab porch leaves you feeling exposed if you were standing on it. The front door is essentially camouflaged behind that bay box out and does not suggest openness in any way. But there's one part of the house that draws my eye. Built there originally to accent the home, it's the gable, an obvious feature of the existing house, not part of the historical style, and in most cases not even a functional dormer. It does overwhelm the scale of the front, but it does have a positive aspect. It was designed with a proper proportion. If you want a hint on how big a small porch should typically be, you really want to utilize the sense of proportion that's provided by the gable or an existing architectural element. You can actually build your design based on the element that already exists on the facade. We do that by using the golden section, which is basically using a rule of thirds. From it, we can derive an ideal small porch size. One of the simple principles of architecture and design is to compose elements for the user of the home. There are 3 elements that I would like to explore with this front porch renovation. First, I'd like to explore the element of layering. Second, I'd like to explore the element of arrival. And thirdly, I'd like to look at the element of craftsmanship. Let's look at layering. Layering creates a sense of architectural experience really by creating vertical markers. Like you're hiking through a forest, you're walking past trees, and you're using their trunks as a reference in your journey. Pillars, which are ironically based on tree trunks historically, are really architectural elements that you can take from outside to inside. from one space to the other. It helps you appreciate the space because you perceive yourself moving through it. That's what makes ordered pillars such a valuable asset in the architectural world. Let's talk about arrival. Using an arch to emphasize the entryways can seem a little bit pastiche. It's overused today and essentially abused today. Historically, arches are really profound elements of architecture because they're used as structural components and they're used to emphasize achievement or as a destination marker. The arch in our case here is added to emphasize a sense of nobility to the entry. It harkens back to the historic motif while being a relatively small and simple element that frames the entry around the person using the front door. Let's talk about craftsmanship. Craft is always an important part of a building's messaging. When it comes to construction, you trust the craftsman to do his job well. But craftsmanship can also be shown in how the material is applied to the surface. The material order is essential to understanding the interpretation of a building. The stone on the porch that I've designed here, while it is a veneer, will actually contribute to that message. The idea that it was constructed with purpose, and there is an intention in how it was constructed. The entire purpose of a renovation is really to bring an appreciation and a fresh way of messaging to an existing architecture. A building is really the sum of its parts, and when you reorganize those parts and relayer them in a manner that is readable to everybody, the character that we're all familiar with in the house changes, and you redefine that impression and you communicate a message in a new way. That's the marvel of renovation. Any type of work that's done to building is really the simple process of taking old ideas and reformatting them in a new way. So do you like this house? What architectural styles do you like? I'm working on the next episode, but could use your comments to focus my design style. Let me know in the comments what you think of today's design.